They were actually dumb enough to do it. Can you actually believe this happens right now? Of all times to be doing this, Alvin Bragg decides to fully indict, I guess he convinced the grand jury after a bunch of different testimony, getting a couple of secret witnesses to come forward. He finally found the probable cause in order to indict Trump. We already know what's going to be happening on Saturday with all the trans weirdos descending on Washington, D.C. And then you have something that Trump, as the way that the media likes to characterize it, oh my God, he's just rallying his violent base. This weekend is going to be lit, holy. But let's get some of the facts out of the way, because this just broke at the time of recording this, not but an hour ago. Like, this is piping hot freshness. And for my time over here on this side of the world, okay, 3:30 this drops, like, that's weird. And then I'm also thinking, okay, this is East Coast time, 5:30, just as everybody's leaving to go home on a Thursday of all times, just enough time so everybody can get there. You know, if they want to go out there and protest and fight very peacefully, just be out there, protest peacefully for this unjust prosecution. You couple that with all of these trans day of vengeance that are good. Holy Lord. I don't wish for any of this stuff, and hey man, I was totally happy. Like right now, the video that was supposed to be in this slot right here, it was going to be covering the 6ix9ine getting jumped in LA Fitness last weekend. Okay, like, I would have much rather talked about lower level stuff, but oh man, in the words of the Beanie Man, and oh, I do have a beanie. Hey, just, you know, stay calm for a second. It's not quite, you know, it's not as good as the other one, but as you can see right here, I think it's about as good of a time as ever. It's not the black one, but because we're talking about this stuff, we're on the brink of civil war here, ladies and gentlemen. This is about as close as we've been in the longest time. It's going to stay on because I had to go and get it, for Christ's sake. So, what do we have here first and foremost? The Manhattan grand jury, hearing evidence in the Stormy Daniels hush money investigation on Thursday, voted to indict the former president. Two sources with knowledge of the case, told the Post. The sealed indictment was leaked with the clerk's office Thursday evening. Interesting. Setting the stage for the first ever criminal prosecution of the former U.S. president, the source said the specific charges were not made public. Because that's going to be very interesting, because realistically, okay, if you take a look at the crime that is said to be committed here, and again, you're going off the word of a porn star, a convicted liar, and the secret special witness that they brought in as well was somebody else who was under an NDA. The former or current owner of the former National Enquirer publisher, David Pecker, I know, pause, right? But he came in, and he was also apparently involved in the entire deal here, you know, regarding snatching up anything in the lead up to the 2016 election when it came to salacious rumors that were going around about Trump's infidelity. Not like it was that big of a secret to begin with, right? Like Trump liked to fuck around. Like, it's not really that much of a secret, right? But he was involved in any sort of, yes, salacious, high-profile story that could have thrown off any sort of momentum that he had going into 2016, the election there. But hey man, if you take a look at the media, I thought everybody was dead at the water at the time, right? Oh yeah, or no, yeah, Trump was dead in the water. Yeah, but no, he needed a cleaner that was out there. So apparently, yes, the National Enquirer publisher, David Pecker, he was the guy that Alvin Bragg was waiting for, and I guess he was the guy who really shifted everything. Former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker testified Monday before a grand jury examining Donald Trump's alleged role in paying hush money to a porn star, according to a news report and related photograph. Yes, a political reporter. Get my stuff right. Yo, man, this is so wild because we're right here. Well, it's all but confirmed at this point in time, because I wanted to use the source material. Okay, I wanted to go and get the press release, but I guess maybe tomorrow, when it's made official, when this eventually does get unsealed, well, we're going to have it, and we're going to see if it's going to be the felony or if it's going to be the misdemeanor. Because if it's a misdemeanor, all this pomp and circumstance for that, but this kind of leads me to believe that they're trying to elevate it up to campaign finance law and fuckery that goes on in there. And realistically, to me, this just kind of seems like this is going to be the instigating event, but we'll get to that in due time. A spokeswoman for the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, didn't immediately respond to requests for comment. Pecker's attorney, Alkin Abrahamovitz Oive. I've got a bigger hat on. He's got a little one. Also, didn't immediately comment. Monday was the first time in the week that the grand jury heard evidence in the Trump case. The panel was called off Wednesday and then examined an unrelated matter Thursday. So yeah, this went down on Monday. And now we're hearing about this right now. Again, this just doesn't seem coincidental. You guys know me. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that I'm not all of that conspiratorial when it comes to certain things. It's just when shit lines up so perfectly. It's not conspiracy when you're just simply connecting the dots. So we heard from everybody involved in that story from 2015. We know the story at this point in time, okay? Michael Cohen alleges that he committed campaign finance indiscretions. Yeah, could you prove any of it? No, that's what he copped to. Because Orange Man's like really bad. You guys, you don't understand. He's so bad. And then he got sentenced to 3 years in the Fed pen. But then he also got let out on early release, which isn't common, especially for a federal crime. So there's alarm bells that are being raised here as well. Okay, the grand jury has returned the unprecedented indictment, had since January been hearing evidence and witness testimony related to the hush money payments. Again, this is NDA payments, okay? Nothing's illegal about this. It's just the mechanics behind it is what they're alleging. Yes, made on behalf of Trump. So again, now they're going to have to, at trial, they're going to have to find a connection that Trump made the call that Cohen used the home equity line of credit, like put his home under a HELOC in order to pay off a porn star, but not the other one, Annie McDougal. Is that who it was? Or Amy McDougal? Somebody, right? Only paid off one affair in the multitude of women in Trump's back catalog. Very interesting, very interesting. And home equity line of credit, for those people who don't know about it, you have to document everything that you do with that money. And Michael Cohen, well, he's an idiot, but financially speaking, like this guy held a whole bunch of different titles within the Trump organization. He's stupid, but he's not dumb at his job. You get what I'm saying? Like, why would he do that specifically if he wasn't laying the groundwork? And this is all of these questions that may or may not eventually end up being determined. And comes as Trump, 76, was attempting to regain the White House for a third time running for the 2024 Republican nomination. And we'll get into what implications this has for the 2024 nomination, because if you guys haven't been paying attention to the polls that are out there for the primaries, now I know, Ron DeSantis hasn't announced for running yet. But again, if you guys have been on the channel for a while, you know that Ron is dead in the water. Every time that we look at any poll that is out there, Trump is 20, 30, probably after this indictment right now, maybe even higher and further away from DeSantis. What does this do for moderates that are out there? Okay, for the polling public that's like, oh my God, well, Trump could be a felon now. Therefore, I was going to vote for him before. Meanwhile, you'd be scared off by, oh my God, he said mean tweets. But now, because of a political prosecution, because that's also what you're finding out right here, most people say Manhattan DA's Trump hush money probe prompted by politics. Yeah, like, how else could you see it? And this is from Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac, of all polls, found that 62% said the grand jury inquiry has been mainly motivated by politics, while 32% the probe was mainly motivated by the law. Outside of the confines, and nobody can clearly define how they can continue this prosecution outside of the statute of limitations. This is a 5-year window to investigate this crime, whether or not it's a felony or if it's simply a misdemeanor, which we don't have the facts. Like I said, this is breaking news stuff, and by the time that you guys see this, maybe 90 minutes, okay? Like, this is going to be a wild one. I'll get to the other stuff, why the weekend is going to be a wild one, okay? I'll get to that in the other video, but I'll give this some room to breathe, if you will. The poll also found that 93% of Republicans and 70% of independents believe, that's a good number to see. 70% of independents believe Bragg's probe was politically motivated, while 29% of Democrats said the same. So yeah, you're getting that third of Democrats who are like, yeah, I like the whole union idea. I'm a Democrat in the way that, you know, at least that it was pitched back in the cut, like union Democrats, labor Democrats, old blue dog Democrats. But then in the same breath, they think that Joe Biden of the 1940s is still that blue dog Democrat. I jest only a little bit. Bragg's office has paused the grand jury probe for at least another month. Interesting. The Post reported Wednesday. And when did this come up? Oh, March 3rd. But they paused it. Oh, okay, cool. So there, yeah. Even you can see, even with uncertainty surrounding all of this stuff, people are still squarely in Trump's corner. So this is really not going to end well, okay? So, yeah, he blasted, this is Trump once more. Now, he blasted the investigation by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office as a political witch hunt trying to take down the leading candidate by far in the Republican Party, and insisted I did absolutely nothing wrong. Yeah, whatever Cohen did, that's up for Cohen's discretion. Like, the way that they're trying to rope in a convicted liar, somebody who committed perjury, somebody who went and did a little bit of time in jail for being a liar. You're going off of his testimony. The only way that this could have happened is if it was in one of the big blue cities. This is the Southern District of New York. Alvin Bragg is the district attorney for Manhattan. Come on, man. Come on. This all lines up because they made it line up. Trump, who announced he expected to be arrested March 21st. And that's another thing, man. Like I said, don't really believe in conspiracy theories. Don't let the hat fool you all that much. My hair is just going to be so much methed up after this. But that's fine. For the bit, we'll go with it. But I think Trump probably was getting good information at the time when they said that, oh yeah, hey bro, Alvin Bragg's looking into your really old stupid case. You're probably going to get indicted here real soon. They've got the grand jury and they're about wrapping up, so I anticipate something going down at the end of the month. And then Trump hops on, I'm being politically prosecuted. Some very good people, great people within the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. I hear some very, very troubling things, people. Very, very bad things. And then that ended up spooking Bragg. He pushed it off until all of a sudden, oh, what's that? Was that some trannies or in some tough stuff right now? Oh, okay, cool. Drop a Trump indictment. That's what I'm thinking went on right now. Like, come on. There's no coincidences when it comes to Trump. There's a whole bunch of dust that the media likes to kick up and say, oh, look at all the smoke. Ooh. Just try to obfuscate from the fact that there is truckloads, van loads of some mental cases that are descending on the biggest cities over the weekend. Like that whole day of vengeance has ballooned into the long weekend of vengeance, but we'll touch on that in the next video coming up. I just want to get this one out here real quick, but provide all of the appropriate context because everybody else is just going to have, wow, Trump is getting indicted. That's crazy. I want to give you guys some value because that's the boy I am. Don't let the beanie fool you. Because if that was the case, I would say, hey guys, listen, we just need to tune it down. We just need to calm down the rhetoric on both sides. I want to go down to a bar where I can go down to the left and they're going to say, oh, you need to denounce everything that's wrong. But then I don't want to do that. So I'll cross the I think you get what I'm trying to go for. In the lead up to the 2016 election, Trump's former personal attorney and fixer. The only time that I've heard Michael Cohen referred to as a fixer, it's another work of the media. Like, did Trump ever call him a fixer? Like, there's a lot of implications that are there, but anything come directly from Trump? No, man, it's just the machinations of mass media just globbing on to the last thing that they can possibly stick their dirty, decrepit claws into. In the lead up to the 2016 election, fixer paid Daniels $130,000 in exchange for silence. It's an NDA. It's a business practice. Everybody does it. About an alleged affair she had with the New York real estate mogul in 2006. Okay, like, I don't know how that, that right there, that's not illegal at all whatsoever. And you hear Stormy Daniels stories. Oh my God, this is when we met. And then I went upstairs and I had I had no idea that we were going to have sex. Bruh, you went with somebody who has been known to fuck around in New York for, at that point in time, at least 25, 35 years at that point in time. Several decades. He's been known as New York City's #1 playboy. And you didn't think that you were going to be getting down to business, and then you were shocked when, after a really long conversation and figuring out that he's actually the same guy in front of the camera and then off camera as well, I didn't know what to do. So then I went to the bathroom, and then I came back out, and he was stark naked outside of his tidy whities and his white socks. It's like, yo, bro, big confidence right there. And shout out to Trump. That's why he's the man. But Trump denies the affair. He's been, very congruent in that, but let's keep it a buck. Definitely back in the time, like she looks like ass now, but right there, yeah. Is it worth $130,000? After the fact, again, that's one of the big hits against Trump. He surrounds himself with some really dumb people. Now, at the point in time, as Stormy alleges, never, ever, ever offered her any money. So once again, doesn't pay for box. I really like the guy even more now. So Cohen pleaded guilty in a Manhattan federal court in 2018 and was sentenced to 3 years in prison for crimes related to the Daniels payment. Yeah, he pleaded guilty. He got a plea deal. I don't know, man. It's one of those conspiracy, or maybe it's just one of those things that lines up. He lays the groundwork, does a little time at Club Fed, only to, that's the only thing. I don't see what the benefit is there for him outside of just pure scorn, rage, and vengeance that he's no longer a part of the Trump organization, that he just wants to get back at his former employer and, a theoretical political adversary, because I don't know what Cohen wants. It's very strange, to say the least. But yes, and another model, Karen McDougal, who's also a playmate, who bears a striking resemblance to Melania. So I'm not just saying, Trump definitely has his archetypes. But then, like most guys as well, he also has a variety of archetypes that he likes to work through. Trump, who was president at the time that Cohen's guilty plea, and also he's a stone-cold loser. He's a loser. Manhattan, did not face charges by federal prosecutors over the payments. Interesting. Oh, no, that's Trump? Yeah, because when he was in office at the time, there's this thing. I believe it's the Tillman Act. Is that what it is? Where a sitting president cannot be indicted for anything. You have to wait until he's out of office in order to pursue any crimes. So that's what was going on right now, and that's why everything is kind of backlogged. And that's another kind of interpretation of that law or that act that's there. It's like, okay, cool. Everything was put on pause for the time being while he was in office. So does that somehow skirt the statute of limitations when it comes to this? Again, these are abstract interpretations of laws that have never been tried, but, Fat Albert down there in Manhattan, he thought that he's going to really make his name on this. I'm going to fulfill a campaign promise. No, bro, you're just an ass. Bragg had repeatedly been building a case on the Daniels payment being made with the intent to conceal or commit another crime. Yes, of course. But, okay, yeah, the Times reported the charge would amount to a low-level felony. That is, if they could end up elevating it to that level, because falsifying business documents, that's what's at the base of this. Okay, Cohen used his own funds and then got payments back directly from Trump that amassed to, I think, $420,000 over a set amount of time. That's what he was alleging. That's what he pleaded to, and therefore it didn't have to get proven. So yeah, he got increments of $35,000, I do believe, over a set amount of months, totaling up to $420,000. Do the math if you like, over several years, obviously. So then he used his own money and then got reimbursed by the Trump campaign because of that. That's what he was alleging, and that's what Alvin Bragg is trying to use in order to elevate the falsifying business documents, because the way that it was annotated in the Trump organization was that reimbursement to Cohen was used for a retainer for his legal services, because you remember Cohen is a lawyer. If the last name didn't indicate you, oh wow, he's in law, very interesting. Are you sure he wasn't the banker? Yeah, like it comes back around here. Bragg's case hinges on the allegation of the crime of falsifying business records. Bookkeeping fraud was done in a commission of another crime, a campaign finance violation, which would ratchet it up to a felony, which is... It's very interesting because it's in line with other things as well. But, okay, so what does this indictment ultimately mean? Well, does that mean, I don't know, that this is PolitiFact, so take it with a bucket of salt. Can Donald Trump run for president if indicted or convicted of a crime? That's what I want to know, because that's pretty much what everybody else wants to know. Okay, he's far and away the leader when it comes to the Republican nominee for 2024. And very likely, if you take a look at other hypothetical polls as well, he is points, several points, getting close to, and if things continue to get worse, like they're kind of threatening to be at this point in time, double-digit points over any other Democratic challenger that's in the field. So is this going to sideline Trump because of some political prosecutions? Actually, no. So that's a good thing. Okay, so if you're short on time, and obviously I'll link through the rest of this. I did a little bit of pre-screening when it comes to this. It doesn't really suss out, because there's this wonderful document, man. This has been something that I've been ruminating on for a while. There are 4 documents that are written. It doesn't matter how old they get, who's interpreting them, they continue to dispense wisdom time and time again. Okay, you got your 3 Abrahamic holy books, you got the Torah, you got the Bible, and you have the Quran. They continue to be universally applicable regardless of their, well, application. And then you have the United States Constitution. All of that stuff, man, they have divine writings that are in them. Okay, not trying to suck up to, any of the stories and words that are written in them. I'm just saying, man, like there's some books that don't hold up to scrutiny after like a week after release, and then there are some other pieces of documentation that continue to just drop little nuggets of wisdom universally. So yes, the United States Constitution says presidential candidates must be citizens and residents of the United States for at least 14 years and at least 35 years old. Obviously, Trump fulfills both of those because he's already held office. It does not state that a criminal indictment or conviction prevents someone from running for president. A separate section of the Constitution bans federal office holders who engage in insurrection or rebellion. Nothing has been charged at this point in time. Insurrection or rebellion. It was a condition added after the Civil War, which, hey, this current insurrection, even worse than that. But using it in today to keep today's candidates off the ballot is a long shot. So again, this would take kind of backwards, warped interpretations of said law, said act, said amendment, and it's not likely to fly. Because, just as the election lawsuits from 2020 were summarily dismissed by the Supreme Court, you would have the exact same thing when it came to somebody running for office, even if it got to a point where an election happened and the votes were tallied, and then you just try to have this one harebrained legal scheme and it gets to the Supreme Court, they'll just look at it and go, yeah, the will of the people has been done, regardless of how you got there. So yeah, they'll just throw that to the side. Some state laws and constitution bars felons from running for office, but that's for state or local offices only. That's where the little amendment, and that's where I've heard that talked about a couple of different times. If you're under a state indictment, which this could very well be, because we don't have all of the charges that are out there, okay? So if Trump gets snatched up for this one, he can't run for governor of New York. He can't run for PTA board in Schenectady. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I don't think he was aiming for that. I think he had his eyes set a little bit higher. So that's good. That's good. Okay, so let's get down to what I think is ultimately going to be happening here. Okay. Oh, yes, here we go right here. So, yes, we have the Manhattan case and something else that's been quiet. And the grand jury, because we heard the 4 lady, that Slytherin weirdo who just loved to be on CNN and MSNBC. I would love to be in the same room as Trump and read him the charges against him. I think we're going to see movement on this very, very soon. Local prosecutors in Georgia is investigating whether or not he committed a crime in an attempt to overturn the 2020 presidential election results off the back of 2 phone calls. I've listened to one of them. I don't know about the other one, but the one that we heard, and I'm pretty sure that video is still out on Rumble, we listened to it. He didn't do anything, okay? You'd have to be politically motivated in order to pursue that. Now, could they make some wacko insurrection charges off of that? That would be lofty. That would definitely be one huge political prosecution, but what's the crime associated to that? Who knows? Could there just be another sister indictment off of that? Then it seems like, oh man, he's been twice indicted. That doesn't look very good. But then you have the big one as well. He also faces a federal investigation headed to a special counsel who is probing his handling of classified materials after leaving the White House and his involvement in the January 6th Capitol riot. Okay, That's the big boy one. That's the one that was the raid in Mar-a-Lago back, oh, Lord have mercy. When was it? That was at least 6 months ago. I forget specifically. Was that the end of summer? I think so. I think it was August, right? Yes, because Trump did this deposition. It was just a couple days before Mar-a-Lago was raided. So yeah, August 8th, the beginning of August, that happened. Haven't had a lot of movement on that. Had that special master, that I think Obama appointee who had only worked specifically in leftist think tanks beforehand. Yeah, he's running the numbers on that one. So I think we're going to see some movements on the rest of this stuff once the Manhattan indictment gets unsealed, and they'll eventually get their little perp walk that they're looking for. Holy man. This is interesting, because I looked also for Trump's response on Truth Social. Hadn't posted anything except for a couple of clips that he posted on the Rumble channel earlier today. So if you're following him and me over there, hi, I'm over there. If you're watching this on Rumble, shout out to you guys. But yeah, he dropped a whole bunch of other, campaign promises, campaign talking points as well. And he's been ultra based when it comes to all that stuff. It's not the Ron DeSantis, we need to stop woke infiltration. That's nice there. He's like Hillary Clinton with better cadence. It's just fucking annoying at this point in time. But yo, you see all of these other piling ons, and I think once all of these shoes eventually drop, the Georgia stuff, okay, the special counsel stuff, on top of the official unsealing in Manhattan, then you'll start to see the rhinos start to circle the wagon. Then you'll see everything else just self-immolate. It's going to be a wild few hours in the aftermath of this, and this weekend, man, for reasons as well that we'll be touching on more thoroughly here in a moment, well, in a couple of hours' time when the next video gets posted, especially when it comes to the Trans Day of Vengeance, and then you've just rallied the MAGA base that's already just primed and waiting to protest, even if they were going to be peaceful, totally peaceful, beautiful people. They're just out there, they just want to have their voices heard, because with their favorite president, me, he's being unfairly politically prosecuted. They want to go out there. Well, now they're just going to use this as justification if anything goes wrong with the trans stuff. Oh, look at all of those MAGA agitators that are out there. This is just as bad as another insurrection. There's a lot of theories, and I'll just go ahead and posit those in the next one. But for right now, Trump's been indicted. First former sitting president of the United States to be indicted on charges. It's a wild time. It's a special time to be alive, and we'll be here to document it. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.